All right, welcome to What is Computer Networking with Tracy L. Patterson. Tracy, what is computer networking?
Hi, hi, Tracy. Computer networking is like it sounds, getting two computers, two or more, but we'll keep it simple, two computers to talk to each other, to connect, communicate, and exchange information for whatever reason that the users need to exchange information, whether it's email, website, um, printing, so communication between two devices.
Okay, so what does that mean, communication between two devices?
Okay. Sending data from one device to another in a way that the device can use that information and make it something that a human can work with. So, for instance, most of us have, or many of us probably have a printer in our house and a wireless network. So, every time you want to print something, say you get an email, you want to send it to the printer, there is communication that's going on. That data is being formatted, it's being sent some way, either through a cable or through the air, through a wireless network to the printer. The printer has to know how to receive that information and then put it in a way into um, the machinations of the printer where it is depositing ink on a paper and that paper is coming out and it is something that a human can work with. So a human sent the information in the first place and a human is receiving that information, but it's gone between two computer devices. Again, websites, this is part of networking. And when you go to a website, and you're getting you go to disney.com because you want to see something about the latest movie, that information is on another computer out in the world, and there's got to be a way for that information to come through the world because that server is in Nevada or Florida or New York or whatever. That information has to come through the world into your computer in your house. So as it sounds, it's a big field. There's a lot to it. And it's broken up into different sections of wireless computing, cloud computing, but overall, that is computer networking.
So you said data. I mean, I don't want to get too granular, but what is
Oh,
example? Give us a couple of examples of what is data.
okay. That's a good question. Data is information. And a computer takes information, it takes input and gives output.
Okay.
So the data is the information that we put in or that we want to get out. Uh, I type an email.
Okay.
When I hit the keyboard, when I hit those keys, the physically hit those keys on the keyboard, it is sending information. It is taking the information that I'm giving, that key, that K key, it translates it into bits and bytes. It translates it into different uh, signals, and it sends that those signals. It sends it to the computer. In essence, it sends it actually to the operating system, which knows, hey, that you are using this particular application. I'm going to take that signal that you just sent by hitting the keyboard and turn it into a K on the screen. So
Okay.
data is any information that is moving back and forth. When I go to Amazon, the website,
Yep.
I use the mouse to click on a water bottle. Well, no, that click that I just made is information. It is saying I selected that, and that selection is sent all the way to Amazon's computers, where Amazon's computer said, "Oh, they selected this," and then something else happens because of that selection that I made.
So where is the data stored in computer networking? Because I'm typing on my computer, typing, 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 and I'm
Mhm.
sending information and it's invisible. So is
Mhm.
it really invisible? Or what is the network? Where is it stored? How is it stored? Can you help us with that?
Okay, it's it's stored several places
Okay.
and it's moving also. So for like I said, the first example that or one of the examples I talked about with hitting a key on the keyboard, that is turned into an electric pulse. Uh, when they talk about bits and bytes, when a signal goes to the computer, it there is a signal on or a signal off.
Okay.
So the action that I took is turned it kind of into energy, and the computer knows how to read all of these on and off signals, zeros and ones,
Mm-hmm.
and it combines so many zeros and ones together into different types of information. A certain combination of zeros and ones equals a K. A certain combination of zeros and ones equals a picture. That data is stored on your computer in your hard drive, but if when we're talking about networking, it's stored temporarily and it is sent through the network. So part of the network is large. The network, it might be being sent through wires. If in your house, if it's wireless, it's being sent through the wireless signals to your modem router, which is going out into the world, which is probably being sent through, if you have cable internet, it's being sent through cables, or DSL. If you have a satellite, it's going through the air. And when it gets to its destination, then again, it is being stored. It's being like a post office.
Okay.
A letter that you send, the post office will hold that letter. They don't keep that letter, they keep it moving to the next destination.
Mm-hmm.
So as the data is moving, it is stored in packets like envelopes. They actually call them packets. The data is in packets as it's moving through the world from post office to post office until it gets to the final destination.
Mm. Okay. And so then you said, so the data
Mm-hmm.
is stored in your computer
Mm-hmm.
and in your hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
It travels through the network seamlessly and in an invisible way. How does that happen? How, I mean, it's fascinating to think that if I'm typing something and
Mm-hmm.
there's a wireless network, so like right now I'm on a hotspot. I'm on a hot.
Mm-hmm.
And so how does the hotspot or any other way that I'm connected to the internet travel when I'm not plugged into the wall? I mean, we take this stuff for granted. We do it, but I'm really interested in how does transmitting information in a network work? I often ask students this, which uses more energy, um,
Mm-hmm.
a refrigerator or a computer? And just getting the question, the thoughts of or and the ideas that come of that, it creates a thread. And so
Mm-hmm.
what is the thread for the networking from my computer right now that's not plugged into the wall?
Mm-hmm.
It's on my hotspot on my phone. And how is it transmitting information?
Okay. Want to go back, I because I really do like the post office analogy,
Yep.
and actually going back, a lot of computer technology and the way things have come about are based on real world. Networking
Yes.
is based on the analogy of a post office and
Okay.
how mail works. But going back, you're on your computer.
Hmm.
Uh, you want to send a picture.
Yes.
Your computer, when you're using an application, first of all, that knows how to handle it, because different applications know how to handle different things. Just like a fork is going to do something different than a spoon, and you're not going to eat soup well with a fork,
Yes.
and you're not going to cut meat well with a spoon. So
Yeah.
your different applications have a different specialty. Your email application knows how to send data,
Okay.
your game program doesn't, et cetera, or your word program.
Hmm.
So when you're in your email program and you type up an email and you attach a picture in there,
Hmm.
the email program knows how to parse out, make all that data small enough to put into envelopes or packets. It
Hmm.
puts it into envelopes. It knows how to address the envelopes. It's going to address it to, you'll send it to me. It'll address it to me, to Tracy.
Hmm.
That envelope in your email program gets sent to your computer to the device on your computer the network card that's going to send it out into the world. When it gets to that network card, the network card says, I don't know who Tracy is, but I do know where the modem in your house is. And so I'm just going to send it there, and that it's going to figure it out from there. So
Okay.
it sends that packet to your modem. Now, when it sends it, if it sends it wirelessly, it sends it through the air. And that's actually waves in the air, frequencies in the air that
Ah,
are there's a
frequencies. Okay.
yes.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot more configuration to it, but that is the essence. There are two major frequencies that are used for wireless communication, but it is going through frequencies, and the modem, your modem router in your house, the piece that the cable guy installed so you can get to the internet, it knows how to receive. It knows what frequencies that your wireless communication is coming from, and it catches whatever those packets are, those envelopes that are coming on that frequency.
Oh,
When
okay.
the router gets it, you're in your house. And I keep looking up at mine, is right there. That's why I'm looking up at my router.
Uh-huh.
It gets the packet and it says, okay, well, this packet needs to go to Tracy. I
Mhm.
don't know who Tracy is, but I'm going to send it to the next post office. And
Mhm.
so it knows to send it to the first stop that your cable company, the first computer, the first server that your cable company has on your line. So
Yes.
it sends it to the next post office. That post office says, okay, I don't know who Tracy is, but I can see that it's on Gmail. So I'll send it to a server that has Gmail and let that figure it out. So
Mhm.
it's all of these little layers that keep happening on how data information is sent. Finally, there is a server or a computer that says, oh yeah, I know Tracy, I'm gonna send this envelope, put it in her mailbox.
Uh-huh.
It puts it in my mailbox. When I get on my computer, the email program knows to one of its activities is go out and look for mail. So
Uh-huh.
it knows, it sends a signal or it sends a packet out to the router and say, hey, go get her mail. Her mail is here. Goes out, see whatever's in that mailbox, it gets sent back to me, to my computer, so I can see it. So those
So,
are big, broad
yeah,
kind of,
and all that
exactly.
happens in seconds, milliseconds.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so all around us, there are wavelengths, these wavelengths of a networking system
Yep.
for several different operating systems. That's great. I have a ton of questions. But first, how did you get started in computer networking? And tell us about your background. What's brought you to this place right now, to this point in your career?
Okay. Uh, I'm going to start from here. So, right now, I have a business where I create training for people to learn more about computing to help businesses. And one of the things that I am working on is creating training for networking so other people can learn networking, computer networking. I started uh, working as admin assistant in various places, but I loved working with computers and I would play with it and do as much as I could, creating macros to automate, sending out letters, playing with spreadsheets and doing inventory. And I would just play with it.
Mhm.
I got to a job for an airline where, whenever I spare time, I'm just tinkering and playing with it. And then I discovered, oh, I can play behind the scenes. And I would play so much behind the scenes, I would break something and tech support would have to come up and fix it. And they would look at me every time and I would say, I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. And so finally, they just started telling me, okay, just do this. If you're going to play with it, just test this. And the woman that I was working for said, you know what? Why don't you go play with the IT people? Like, go over there and talk to them. I'm going to have you interview with them. I
Mhm.
did not have a tech background, so to speak. I like to play with things, but I found the one book. This is in the 90s. There was no internet. I couldn't just
Okay.
Google what
Yes.
to say in the interview.
Yes.
Found a book and studied as much as I could and talked my way to the interview. And I got a job in networking. So to this day, this is not a job that requires a 4 year degree. You can get a 4 year degree and go really far into design,
Hmm.
but supporting networks is very something very much that you can learn through courses, and a lot of it, no matter what, I don't care what schooling you get, you have to be hands on. That's how, because the problems that come, there's so many problems that don't come in a book.
Mm, hmm. So when you say you would play, because that's a key word for me, you would
Okay.
play with things and break things. Talk about that because when we're thinking about computers, people often think about computer science. People often think about coding,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how to knowing how to code. Um, do you know how to code actually?
I do. Yes.
Okay,
I
okay.
got into
And
it.
so, oh, you did get into it.
Mhm.
So when you say you were playing, what exactly were you playing with and what did you break?
Um, I was playing with, well, first, like I said, I would play with the programs that I had to use on the job. So
Okay.
using Word, or back then it was Word Perfect. Create, so I would create automation. I would play. I found there are things in the menu. Oh, well, what does this do? Oh, I can automate, filling out a batch of letters. Oh, well, let me try to figure this out.
Uh-huh.
I play with spreadsheets. We're doing inventory. Oh, what is this on the menu? Or, oh, what is, if I type equals and this thing pops up? What is it? Let me type some stuff in. Let me play with it. Oh, I can automate this counting up these particular rows, but not these rows. And just to keep playing with it, playing with things in the background. Back then, again, this was just about the time Windows was starting. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things were command line, and just typing in help will give you a list of stuff that's there, like, oh, well, let me see what this stuff does. And to what you said, I can't recommend enough. I tell my students constantly, play with things. It's harder than you think to break your computer. So you play with it, test some things out. A
Yeah.
lot of times you can backtrack, and like I said, the way Windows is built now, it's hard to break it. So just play with it, see what something does, see if you can repeat it.
Oh, all right. And now you are helping businesses
Mm-hmm.
and you're teaching people how to get into computer networking. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I support businesses to make them more productive with computer technology, or if they are wanting to train other people with computer technology. So I have a client. In fact, I had a client who, a notary public, since the pandemic, so many things have become digital. And
Mm-hmm.
he had to move over to digital, using digital services, and he was just flabbergasted. He didn't know what to do with it, so I helped him, get familiar with the program and learn how to do his business online now, use the digital product. So that's one thing that I do, helping businesses be productive with what they need wherever they are with the technology that works for them. Virtual reality training, we've worked a little
Ooh.
bit with that, for safety. And the other piece is I am creating training. So right now I'm working with a nonprofit creating computer training for them, for people who come into um, their service, to so they can get computer training. Some of it is for business, for getting a job, to
Mm-hmm.
be more proficient on the computer, with business productivity like Excel and in Word, but also we're looking at it. We're structuring a course on networking. I feel very strongly about it because that's how I started my career. It is the basis of anything you do with cybersecurity. You need to understand networking, and like I said, it doesn't require a 4 year degree. There's a lot of people who I think would find a fulfilling career in computer networking and or cybersecurity.
Mm. So you talked about virtual reality, VR. Can you
Mm-hmm.
talk more about what you're doing there?
Absolutely. So, we have created safety training simulations.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
VR is very effective. If you have you ever put on VR goggles?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I have.
Okay. How did you feel when you were in the goggles?
A little disoriented. A little
Okay.
disoriented. Yeah, because it's like, whoa, oh, okay, it's a whole world. in the virtual space. And so just trying to get oriented was a little challenging at first. It's been a while since I've done some VR. I think I did it at the Microsoft store a long time, about seven
Oh,
years ago. Yeah.
okay. But you were disoriented because you felt like you were in someplace different?
I did. I did. I felt like I was in someplace different. It was like not being able to, like, not being sure of my footing uh,
Uh-huh.
because I was in a new space, but it felt very real.
Okay. That's what we've tried to do with our safety training, because we worked with a construction company,
Uh,
and it can be a dangerous place. So it's better to learn about how to safely um, assess your scaffolding in virtual reality than in real life. So
yeah.
if you go to the scaffolding in the virtual reality simulation and it has a red tag, and you ignore that red tag and try to climb up, that red tag was there for a reason, because there's something wrong with that ladder on the
Yes.
scaffolding. In
Yes.
VR or in real life, you can fall. We do
Uh-huh.
have it set up in VR. You will fall, and it can be disorienting, but you will not hurt yourself.
That's
And so we're
awesome.
reinforcing safety.
So, I want to talk more about, what, computer networking, but where can people find the work that you're doing around safety if they wanted to work with you to create some simulation, either in their business, protocols with um, human resources, anything like that? Where can people find you so that they can tap into your expertise?
Oh, absolutely. They can find me at trandy.com. I guess we could put that in the description, but it's
Yeah.
TRANNDEE.com, where
Uh-huh.
we created like I said, a lot of safety virtual reality simulations. But even, if somebody's interested in virtual reality, we could absolutely just, talk to you and help you get started and, find the path that works for whatever industry that you're in.
So fun. So fun. So, um, can you talk about so I'm a person, I'm 21 years old
Mhm.
and I'm really interested in networking for smartphones.
Okay.
Is there a differentiation between networking with smartphones and laptops and desktops?
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
okay.
well, okay, it getting it fine-tuned, yes. In general, networking concepts, and no matter where you're working, you need to understand the base of how computers talk to each other. For instance, there's a thing called an OSI model that describes the layers of communication for computers, starting from physical, then to the network card, then the different protocols that talk to each other, then the applications. So just understanding that those layers, no matter where you work in networking, is key. Now, the fine tuning is there's so many ways that computers can talk to each other. So the different areas um, do require an expertise. Those who are working with a cell phone are going to have different issues than with those who are connecting computers in a small office, who are going to have different issues, who are connecting computers between three offices in three different states, who are going to have different issues than those who are working with storage and working with um, yeah, storage and networking,
Mhm.
Google Drive and OneDrive. You've got people who just focus on that, and they are going to have the same types of issues or need that same expertise as the one who's working with cellular and mobile technology. So there's lots of different areas. Working with very large companies, especially the companies that create networking devices like Cisco, that's enterprise networking, different areas, but there's a lot of possibility in availability for what I see in all of these spaces.
Yeah, yeah. And so there are um, four areas that I want to ask you about as
Mm-hmm.
for career pathways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Network administrator,
Mm-hmm.
um, security analyst. I don't know if that's a cybersecurity analyst,
Mhm.
or if there's a difference between those, and a network architect.
Right.
So can you talk about that and pathways that folks can possibly, do you need certification for that?
Okay.
Or do you have to be self-taught? And if that certification, where are the best places to get that type of certification from?
Okay. So the first one you said was network administrator.
Yes.
All right. Network administrators largely are they manage the network. They're in a way tech support. So
Mm-hmm.
they're managing what's already existing. When problems arise, they're fixing the problems. When new devices need to come online, a new printer, some people get new cell phones that need to be connected to the network. They are a part of that.
A security analyst. Is that different than cybersecurity?
No, that would be part of cybersecurity, network security, because they
Mhm.
still need to understand how networks work in order to fight off attacks on the network. That's their job. So a security analyst is looking, and there are different like smaller jobs in there too, which I'll say in a minute. But
Mhm.
they are looking at the network and how to defend it, how to protect it, where are the weaknesses, and when there is attacks, how to fight them off. So, for instance, there's a job within a security called a pen tester, a penetration tester, and all they're doing is they're the good guy. The company they work for, they're looking for holes and picking holes in the network, so they can say, "Oh, nope, this is a weak spot. We need to do something with this."
Mhm.
Whether that's how passwords are kept, because a lot of the weak spots are the people, not the computers. People who write their passwords and leave it on their monitor. That's a weak
Yes.
spot.
Yes. Okay.
But other weak spots where when you don't update your operating system, when Windows says want to update, it's for a reason. It's a pain. I agree. I understand, y'all. It's a pain, but that is a whole.
Yeah.
So that's part of cybersecurity, and that's what a security analyst, that's part of their job. A network architect, like it sounds, they're building a network. They're
Ooh.
building the whole structure.
Uh-huh.
So and it's not usually for a small company. It'll be for um let's say um let's go to VR.
Mhm.
uh, you can store those simulations. Usually with the goggles, the simulation is a program, and it's installed either on the goggles or on a computer that the goggles are connected to.
Yes.
Now, those companies are getting larger with this. They will store these simulations on a server, and they need to make it so these goggles, no matter where they are, can get access to it. So a network architect would design this, because this is fairly new. This hasn't existed. This wasn't in existence 10 years ago. So this is
Mhm.
network architects are creating new systems, creating new networks for new technologies and or for new businesses. If a company opens a big, I don't know, 10-story office, a network architect could be the one to come into this brand new building and make sure, or design how all the networks are going to work, from the wiring to how the computers will talk to each other to how we will protect the computers, the security that we have. So it's a much bigger job. But
Wow.
so going back down the line, network architect is usually a 4 degree kind of
Okay.
job.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
doing a lot more structure. Security analysis analyst can be a 4 year degree, can be a certification degree. A lot of these security analysts, a lot of times, or I recommend, is somebody who's come up in networking, gotten some experience, and now because you have that experience, you can apply it to protection versus just making sure things are working.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say like a carpenter building. I go into bad analogy land in my classes. Your house is secure if you have a door that's secure.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a beginning carpenter, it might not be secure. You might need to make a few doors before you know what a secure door is. So that's just kind
Yeah.
of that kind of an analogy for security and network administration. Absolutely, you can get into that with certification anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, depending on what networking program that you go with.
Hmm.
One of the I think broadest but most accessible is a Network Plus certification. You
Ooh.
can do it on your own. Uh, it depends on how you learn. Doing it in a class might be better. There's a lot of great YouTube channels actually too for helping you study for that certification, and then trying to get an internship or an entry level job to get that experience. Oh, one last thing, which I didn't have when I started.
Uh-huh.
Because of computers now, we all are network. Everybody's got a network in their home now. If
Yeah.
you are connected to the internet, you have a little network in your home, which means you've got something you can kind of play with and test. I did not have that in the 90s. I
Wow.
I only got experience on the job because we didn't have that. So it's even easier to me if you want to get into networking to take the courses, to self-study and to actually test it on your own computers and then take that exam and go from there.
Right. So how do you overcome the fear of
Uh,
I might break it or I don't know enough or what if I mess something up? How do I fix it? What do you do then?
that's a great question. I'm trying not to be, trite about it, but part
Okay.
of it is just do it. And if you do break it, then fix it. Okay, but so to back up from there,
Uh-huh.
okay, to be practical,
Yes.
a lot of people have more than one device that connects to the internet. You have a
Yes.
phone, you have a computer. So I would still say test it. You have your backup. Google how to fix it. Google. Here is a secret that a lot of,
Okay.
I don't know how many tech people are going to admit. Most tech people don't have all this stuff memorized. They Google it. They Google it the thing, but why you want to get the education, whether it's courses or a degree or you want to be certified, is because you understand the basics, you understand the framework. So if you understand the framework, when you Google something, it's you're just Googling for reference,
Okay.
and so
Okay.
you're not figuring it out from scratch.
Okay.
So that to go back, test the overcoming the fear. You have to just do it and know that if you break something, it can be fixed. And you are probably the one who's going to be able to fix it.
Love that. Love that.
You can it's within you. You're going to have that motivation, and you've got and the tools. There's so many more tools here now. Like I said, between having more than one device that connects to the internet and Google.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a I once I updated my system, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then my computer did something where it took all my old files, it took my current files and hid them and took all my old files and spit them out on the laptop. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I went to the Apple store.
Okay.
And it was great because the person I was working with was very knowledgeable and said, you actually didn't need to come in. Someone could have walked you through this over the phone. And he showed me, he goes, what happened was and he was explaining, did you save this to the cloud? Yes, I did. He goes, well, the cloud actually put this back on your computer and took everything and put it in. It was really simple. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like, I'm gonna break something if I try to fix this. And he was like, you could have figured this out. And so he goes, next time, try, to do a little digging. He goes, make sure you're updating your operating systems regularly. It's just
Yeah.
something that I'm like, I don't want to update it. And so that was something that was really important to do. I want us to continue this conversation in another session.
Okay.
Um,
But can I
and
just say what you did was
yes.
perfect though?
Oh,
That was
okay, okay,
perfect.
okay.
That's how you tried it. You went and got help. You let them and make sure you tell them, tell me what you did, explain it. But you and they gave you a framework to go forward. So that's
Yes.
perfect. That's exactly what you should be doing, what one should be doing. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. So I would love if we have in our next session,
Hmm.
I'm a visual person. I'm a
Okay.
visual person. I'm sitting here thinking about all the wireless networks that are in my house.
Okay. All
Are
right.
they? Where are they? I would love for us, and I know there's so much more to mapping this
Mm-hmm.
out, for us to actually um, draw,
Okay.
draw what a networking system looks like just in your house, or whatever we decide it's going to be, and then to talk about how to be an entrepreneur
Okay.
in networking. I would definitely want to hear more about your journey in our next conversation towards entrepreneurship, because I mean, you're right. I mean, there are computer networks all over the world. There's just recently a cable was cut in
Mm-hmm.
the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
and there are many cut cable. I mean, the, I feel like knowledge is power, incredible
Absolutely.
power, and
Yep.
for helping us to be able to determine what areas we want to get into
Mm-hmm.
and how we can be more independent. So my brother is an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 years ago, I said to him, I think we should create our own version of Google. He goes, Oh, really? He goes, Do you understand what you're asking? And I was like, No, that's why I'm saying let's do it. He goes, Because you want to do the operating system, because I believe that's what Google is, correct? Google's an operating system. No, it's
Search engine.
a what? A
A
search
search
engine.
engine? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Search engine. So I wanted
Yep.
to create my own search engine. He goes, Yes. And he says, Google has a plethora of folks working just on security for the search engine. So it's not enough to design a search engine. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to design all these different fail safes so that the search engine can actually operate successfully.
Right.
And he's talking about all the hacking that happens, and all the like when you go to if well, I've done this a couple of times looking at who is it that I don't know which operating system that I was looking into, where it says these are the attacks that were prevented, from on your
Oh.
system, and not norovirus or Norton, anything like that, but just I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that your computer will let you know that
Mm-hmm.
you know these viruses were avoided or
Mm-hmm.
thwarted, and so being able to become more independent and more knowledgeable about the
Mm-hmm.
systems that we're operating, I think would be really, really helpful. And your expertise is valuable, incredibly valuable, and want to, highlight that more and learn from you. So thank you.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. And that's something that I'm working on. So, yeah, I would love to I will have the next time we talk, yeah, a
Mm.
lot more graphic format that is, yeah, describing how these things work together.
Yay, awesome. Thank you. So you can find Tracy on YouTube where?
I Get It Tech class. That's where I'm doing a lot of training. And also for virtual reality is Trendy Tech.
Yay, thank you. And so this is Tracy Gray. I'm with Pivot with Purpose, in particular, Pivot with Purpose in STEM. And I'm so grateful that we've had our host, Tracey Patterson, our guest, Tracey Patterson, joining us and talking about computer networking. So,
Thank you for having me here. I'm an evangelist for technology.
all right, awesome. Until next time, thank you. Bye.
Bye.